Greetings. I am Bragi, and I am the son of Magnar, and yes, I am a Viking storyteller. Now today, I am here to tell you a story from Ireland, that most magical and enchanted place I have been to. Now the other day I was walking down an old road, probably been left by some ancient people, and I came across a man on a horse. And being, well, nosy and wanted to know who this stranger was, I got to talking. I said, "Hello there, I am Bragi. I live in the village of Northworthy." And he said his name was Thorgrim, and that he was a magistrate. And well, we said goodbye, and he carried on his ways. Oh dear, a travelling magistrate, what will happen next? And so at night I was sitting down in my longhouse by my hearth, keeping warm by the fire. And as we always do at night, we always tell stories to one another. After all, in the Viking times, there's no TV, children, and there's no radio. So you got to do something. So we tell tales. And in counting this magistrate, it reminded me of an old tale I was told by my father, Bragi Magnarsson. So the story is called The Magistrate and the Devil. And we have all heard stories of the devil and his wicked doings and goings on Middle Earth. Now my father, if he was alive, which he is, he would say, yeah, that's Loki, that is, not the devil. But as we say on this channel, that is another story. And so one day in Ireland, that wonderful green and magical place, there was a farmer, and he had a wife, and he was very poor in the shape of coin, in money, but he was very rich in other ways, because he had 3 sons. And his sons were growing up. They was already turning 7, 8, and one of them was 9. And he wanted to give his sons a good future. And he knew that a good future meant learning to read and write, things that we take for granted today. But knowing that, well, he was very poor and he had no coin to pay for a priest or to send his children away to get them educated, he stroked his long beard and thought, what shall I do? And then one day he was sitting around on a log outside and he thought, I know what I'll do. I will sell my soul to the devil. A thing we do not do lightly. And so that day later on, he was walking down an old roadway when he met a man, a stranger with black hair. But he noticed something very strange. The stranger was not wearing any shoes, and nor did the stranger have normal feet, for the stranger had the feet of a goat. He knew this was the devil. And the stranger said hello to the farmer and gave him a large bag of silver coin in exchange for the man's soul. And so many years passed, in fact it was 7. The devil said to the man on that meeting that he shall be back in 7 years to seek and claim the man's soul. And by this time his sons were grown up. One of them was a magistrate, the oldest son, and the middle son, well, he was a blacksmith and was said to have powers and knowledge of healing. And the first son was a priest. And so 7 years passed, and the farmer was sitting outside of his long house with his son, the one who was a priest. And the stranger, the devil, came up and said, You owe me your soul. And, well, the farmer said, well, yes, that's what I agreed to. I agreed to give you my soul in exchange for silver. But the priest, his youngest son, he said, oh, you must not take him. Please, oh Lord, in the name of Jesus, the white Christ. He was one of those that followed the white Christ. He begged and begged the devil not to take him. And he begged the devil so much that, well, the devil felt a little bit of pity. Not too much, just a bit. To say, I shall return in 7 years to take your father. And so the bargain was made. And so some time passed. In fact, as you know, it was 7 years. And the farmer was even older and even greyer and longer in the beard. The farmer who had sold his soul, so his children, his 3 sons, could have a good future. And he was outside drinking some mead, the drink of the gods, with his middle son, the one who was a smith. He was a strong man, but also very knowledgeable, for he knew the ways of healing. Some say he had powers, some say he did not. And so the devil came again. The farmer saw the stranger and knew that 7 years had gone past. And so, you know, the devil came up and said, I want your soul, for you have sold it to me 14 years ago. But again, the blacksmith, the middle son, he argued that, oh, you should not take my father's life. You should not take it, please. For he had not long left, and you know you will have him in the long run. And so, reluctantly, for the second time, the stranger, the devil, agreed not to take the man's soul. And so, the devil said, I'll be back in 7 years. 7 years passed. And again, the farmer was sitting outside on a bench made of wood. His beard was even longer. It touched his belly, and it was grey, and he was bald. And he was sitting outside with his son, the son who became a magistrate. And you may be asking, Bragi, quickly, what is a magistrate? Well, a magistrate is a lawyer. And so the devil came walking up the road to the longhouse where the man, the farmer, who sold his soul to the devil, stood. Well, in this case, he sat. And he said, now you owe me your soul. It has been 21 years. But his son, who was a magistrate, said, oh, you must not take my father's life. Not now, but not until. And he showed the devil a candle, until that candle has stopped burning and has run out of wax. When that candle is gone, then you may have my father's soul and take him down, down to the depths of hell. Eternal flames and burning. Not a nice place to be for a Christian. And so the devil reluctantly for the 3rd time agreed to this, thinking that, whoa, that candle only has a little bit of life left. And so the devil sat waiting for the candle to burn, but the magistrate, the son of the farmer, was too clever. He picked up the candle, and what do you think he did, folks? In one breath, he blew out the candle. And he got the candle, and he put it in his pouch, never to be lit again. And again, for the 3rd time, the devil was outwitted. The end of the tale. Now let's talk about candles, and I do hope you enjoyed that very good Irish tale. And yet again, it is always nice to see the devil losing in these tales. Now here I have an old candle, and it is made out of beeswax. And candle and wax was very important because it gave you light. If you're in your long house, you may have a hearth, and the hearth will illuminate the building. But still, in the nooks and crannies of that little building, where you may have your bed, or you may have a weapons chest or a silver chest for your wealthy goods, you still need to see where you're going. And so, very common was the use of candles. But we also have fat and wicks. You could get a nice wooden dish, put in some animal fat, which is in liquid form from being heated up, and you put a wick in there, and you light the wick with a bit of a twig or a bit of wood, and that will keep on burning. And that is another way you can have light. But also they had lanterns. Lanterns would often be made from wooden structure, wooden frame, and then around the frame would be stretched some very, very thin membrane, and inside a candle would be placed. We take today light to be such a common thing. We can all go to a light switch and press it on and off, but we take it for granted. And let's not forget that most of our ancestors, from the prehistoric until, well, the 19th century into the 20th century, did not have electricity. They relied on stuff like this. So let's be thankful to the bee, because the bee is struggling these days to cope outside. We need bees, not just to pollinate the plants, which is very important, but also for the beeswax. And another thing about beeswax, you cannot have lost wax casting. So you couldn't go, if you had the ability to melt metal like bronze, and you had the ability to make a lost wax casting, you could not do that without wax. So for now, it is goodbye. And let's just not forget, the wax on your thread is also very important on your clothing. Because if you don't wax your thread up, and your thread breaks in your clothing, well, it breaks, but with wax it's much stronger and more resistant to breaking, and therefore will mean that your Viking clothes will last longer. Goodbye, and leave a comment. I must go now. This way. Actually, I've gone the wrong way again.